Let's go ahead and do a full review on Givenchy Gentleman Eau de Toilette Intense, the newest flanker within the line. Can you even see that? It's a little bit hard to see. There it goes. Gentleman Eau de Toilette Intense. You may notice here, the bottle is a little bit different looking. This is still a 100 ml, but they kind of slimmed it down. It's a little bit different. I'll actually go grab another one of my bottles so I can show you side by side. So here's the original Gentleman from 2017, again a 100 ml, and there's a noticeable difference. Maybe not so much for you, but for me there is. They just kind of made it a little bit slimmer and a little bit shorter. Basically they got rid of all of the extra glass that is at the bottom. So like right here you could see there's just a bunch of extra glass where there's no fragrance, and here I think they just slimmed it down on the sides as well. So I guess they're just kind of cutting down the cost of the presentation essentially, just to maximize the amount of real estate inside to put the actual juice into. Personally, I like the old style bottles better. They have a bit more of a heft, they're a bit more bulky, they just feel a bit more quality. Not to say that there's anything wrong with this. I understand they're doing what they gotta do to maximize those profits. Although I don't know why they waited so long to do this. I don't know if they're going to transfer the rest of the line over to this, or if they plan on releasing a ton of more flankers after this one and doing them all that way. Not really sure. But anyway, I'm going to be giving you my full review. I'm going to tell you how it smells, how it performs, when you can wear it, and ultimately if I think it's worth picking up and how it compares to the others in the line. So when you first spray this one on, it opens up with kind of creamy, woody, aromatic type of feel. You get this basil note right up top, and not so long after that comes in a typical iris note. And iris has been used throughout the majority of the line here, from the original Gentleman up to even the cologne, the fresher one, of course Eau de Parfum Intense, and so on. You get the point. And they continue to go with that trend here within this one as well. You get a little bit of a spiciness up top from a cardamom note. It's not too strong, but it's there just giving a little bit of support. Bergamot is listed as a top note, but I don't really pick up on a whole lot of it. For me, it basically jumps into a woody, aromatic, creamy type of scent. It doesn't have necessarily a super attention-grabbing opening. It kind of just opens up smooth and woody. So you're getting woods from the cypress and the cedar wood in here that's listed as a base note. Also in the base, you get some tonka bean as well. And that's not really apparent in the opening. That's something that will start to come through a little bit as you transition into the dry down. Really, as the scent just settles down on your skin, you start to get just a little bit of a warm, powdery sweetness, and that's where that would be coming from. The note breakdown doesn't really have nothing that stands out as being super crazy or unique. The iris is still there, and that's a familiar note, but everything else is, nothing crazy here. There's no caramel or anything like that, which is kind of becoming the new trend. And also, there's no cashmerean or ISO-E Super, anything of the sort. But for me, I kind of pick up on that. When I first smelled this one, it gave me a similar vibe to fragrances like Dior Homme 2020, Dolce & Gabbana The One Eau de Parfum Intense, that sort of thing. Those are primarily very, very woody, and a lot of that is also coming from the cashmere note. Those use it heavily. And while it's not listed here, I pick up on something similar. And again, that was kind of one of the first things I noticed when I smelled this, and for me, that's still a note that I'm not fully warmed up to. I don't mind it depending on how it's used, but when it's used in the forefront, it just kind of throws it off for me. Let's take a look at the Fragrantica comparisons here. First up, Dior Homme Eau, 18 to 17. So tough crowd. I can tell you personally, I don't really think it smells like Dior Homme Eau. I'm sure it shares iris and a little bit of a spiciness, but to me that's kind of the extent of it. Dior Homme Eau is discontinued, and personally that's a shame because it's a great scent. Really nice to wear to work and that sort of thing. This one here also will be a really nice scent to wear to work, but in terms of scent, I don't really get too much of a similarity. Gentleman Eau de Toilette, so the one I was featuring here in the beginning of the video, definitely not similar at all to me. And you would think that, and I would see why people would maybe think that before smelling it because it's Eau de Toilette Intense, but people shouldn't really be voting on stuff when they haven't even smelled it. You'd think that would be common sense, but it's actually not. I know, crazy. Gentleman Eau de Parfum, no, not at all. Halloween Man Shot, I believe is what it is. I actually haven't smelled Halloween Man Shot. I don't own that one, so I can't attest to that. Oh, Gentleman Boisé, that's the first one there. No. Gentleman EDP, no. So neither of those, none of the Gentlemans really so far in terms of smelling similar. John Varvatos, XX. Dolce & Gabbana, the one, Eau de Toilette Intense. Having a little bit of a cashmere note, I get a similarity, but other than that, this kind of takes on its own reign. Dolce & Gabbana, the one, Eau de Parfum. You get the point here. These comparisons, they just get a little bit entertaining. It's spicy, it's woody, it's creamy, it's really quite pleasant. I guess if I did have to compare it to one other in the lineup, it would be Gentleman Boisé, okay? But again, it's kind of a far shot for me because there's a lot more going on here that is absent in Boisé. The main thing for me is that this has a similar creaminess that Boisé has. Now, that creaminess that I'm talking about in Gentleman Boisé is coming from the sandalwood. Again, there's no sandalwood listed here, cedarwood, but no sandalwood. So the creaminess is kind of coming from just a mix of things, the tonka bean and just the woods in general, I suppose. So in terms of when you can wear this, like I mentioned, it's going to be a great work scent. So very versatile. This is very people-pleasing. You could wear this to work and be in an environment where you would want to play it safe, and this one will work perfectly. It's not at all going to be daring or out there. You could even wear this one to school if you wanted to. I mean, it's just going to work really well for situations like that where you're going to be around people in somewhat close quarters and you can't go with anything too offensive. In terms of seasons, time of year, this is the type of thing that could be a signature scent all year round thing. Really, it doesn't necessarily matter as much season-wise, temperature-wise with this one as with some other fragrances, even from this lineup like Gentleman EDP. For me, that's kind of a cool weather exclusive. This one could be all year round. If I had to give a specific weather or time of year for this one, I would say spring, when you have a bit of a cooler spring in the beginning, and then kind of, I don't know, mid-fall, mid-late fall when it's starting to cool down, just getting some mild temperatures, some cooler temperatures, but not going too cold or too hot, just kind of in between. Transitional seasons if you really wanted to put a certain temperature range on this. But I would say that most people who are going to be picking this up will probably see it as just kind of a dumb reach whenever you feel like wearing it type of thing. And that could be in summer, that could be in winter, doesn't really matter. The point is it's clean, it's well put together, it's a very woody scent, and this type of thing will work for about anything. So let's go ahead and touch on performance here. Now, this one is obviously an Eau de Toilette Intense. It is in the official name of the fragrance after all. And so you may wonder what that brings to the table. On my skin, as I've been testing it, I've been getting a pretty solid and consistent 7 to 8 hours. That's pretty good. Really, none of the fragrances in this lineup are beast mode scents. Gentleman EDP does really well for itself, about 8-9 hours longevity, so we're kind of on par with that. And again, that's an Eau de Parfum. Gentleman Absolute, which is kind of a spice bomb smelling scent, doesn't have huge performance either. For the most part, in this range, which is going to be kind of somewhat the mid-range designer pricing, you get about what you would expect, which is decently solid performance. I can't really complain. It does also push out pretty good, especially when you first spray it on. Within the first few hours, it's pretty strong. After that, it will start to soften up a little bit. So this is kind of a really nice concentration here because you're getting the really solid projection from an Eau de Toilette, but you're also getting good longevity like from an Eau de Parfum. So it's a nice hybrid. I find that on my skin, it's easily a really good performer and one that I wouldn't complain about. If you're going to the Gentleman line and looking for a beast mode 12 plus hour scent, you're looking in the wrong place. You're not going to find that. So for most of you wanting to wear this to school, to work, if you work kind of an average 8-9 hour day, you'll probably make it through most of the day, depending on your skin. So my final thoughts on Gentleman Eau de Toilette Intense. What do I think of it? I think it's nice. It's pleasant. Is it one that I'm going to be gravitating towards? Probably not so much. When I go to the Gentleman lineup, I go for, the Eau de Toilette, the Eau de Parfum Absolute, if I want a kind of a spice bomb feel, cologne for summertime, that sort of thing. Even the new Boisé I've been reaching for a little bit if I want something kind of just a bit more mainstream. This, for me, is almost, and this is going to make me sound like a niche snob, but almost a bit too mainstream for what I'm going to be looking for because I personally don't need that. I don't need the super mainstream, super versatile, super people-pleasing type of thing. For me, I like to gravitate towards things that are a bit more of a challenge. If I were in a position where I wanted to go out and wear something super safe, I would probably reach for something different. That's just me. Again, there's something in here, this cashmere and type of woodiness that I pick up on that makes it kind of sit out a ways for me. I think for a lot of people out there though, especially the general public, this is going to be really appealing. And once you can get this one at discounters for about the same price as everything else, it'll be a nice little pickup. So guys, that's going to do it for me. That's my thoughts on Gentleman Eau de Toilette Intense by Givenchy, their newest release. If you've tried this one, let me know what you think. If you haven't, are you going to check it out? Are you not? Just let me know. I will link it up down below along with the other flankers, and those flankers will be at discounter, so you can pick them up at a nice lower price than retail. That's it for me. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.